again, my name is Kevin Britton. I'm a physical therapist here at Breakthrough Physical Therapy. This video is actually the second video in a two-part series regarding good posture. If you haven't seen the first video, be sure to click the link somewhere in the description box. That first video is going to go over the important concepts of sitting up with good posture, utilizing the chin tuck, and going from there. This video is actually intended to be how to set up your workplace environment, your desk chair, and going from there. So if you haven't seen the first video, like I said, be sure to check the link below because you can be completely lost if you don't understand. So now that you know the principles of the sitting with good posture, what we're going to talk about is actually how to set up the workplace environment and also if you benefit from a standing desk. So actually the first series that we're going to talk about is actually starting with the feet. So we're probably going to shift to this camera and I'm going to get an angle from the side. Actually, I'll get an angle straight ahead. And then the best position for your feet is actually about shoulder width apart, knees directly or feet directly underneath your knees, and then the angle of your thigh should almost form a 90-degree angle. So when I sit like this, it should be knees below the levels of the hips, a 90-degree or approximately a 90-degree angle is here, and your feet are firmly planted into the ground. And that's going to provide you a little extra stability. The next component, kind of moving our way up, you can't really see because of the armrest here, but my hips are directly against the back of the chair. So if you have a chair that utilizes a lumbar support, you're going to want to be all the way back into the chair. For some smaller individuals, what will need to happen if you're sitting all the way back in the back of the chair, your feet will actually be lifted up a little bit. And I'd prefer if you used a phone book or some sort of surface that you can put right underneath your feet. Again, that's if your legs are suspended. Going from there, another position I give you that I like to utilize when I'm doing my notes is I scoot forward into the chair. I now take away my support from the backrest, requiring me to use my abdominals. When you're all the way in the back of the chair, your abdominals actually turn off because you have the support of the chair. So to get a little extra stability and provide another position you can utilize throughout the day, you can scoot forward into the chair and utilize this position. One position you can also utilize is roll up a little towel. It's the same position, but a little towel will be underneath my hips, keeping my hips rolled forward like so I'm able to sustain that position. The keyboard should be directly in front of you. The hand should be directly underneath the keyboard. One place a lot of people go wrong actually is the position of the wrist. The wrist might be in an extended position, a flexed position, a deviated position. So what that means is actually an ulnarly deviated position, a radially deviated position. What we want most is actually that wrist to be nice and neutral like so, and lie flat against the angle of the keyboard. If the desk is set up too high, the shoulders will be up too high. If the desk is too low, the shoulders will be too low. And both positions too high or too low will actually put additional stress onto the neck. Another component that you want to be cautious about is the monitor setup. So they say that the monitor should be about 18 to 30 inches in front of your face, or I guess like right in front of your eyes. So a good measurement for that is actually to reach your hand out and touch the screen. So as you can see, this is a pretty good setup for me, where what most people go wrong is actually when the setup of the monitor is too low. What that's going to do is cause my head to come forward, and because we talked about in the first video, the farther the head comes forward, the more that the head actually weighs, so that becomes a very problematic issue for the neck muscles, especially if you have neck pain, because the neck muscles now have to work harder to keep your head up in a support. The last component I want to talk about is actually the position of the armrests. The armrests are a good feature. I actually don't utilize armrests too much when I sit at home, basically because they can be up again too high or too low. And oftentimes, if they're in the level of the desk, similar to you want this 90-degree angle at your shoulder, they'll run into the desk. So what that will mean is you're going to have to use your arms a little bit farther forward in front of your body rather than directly underneath you. And what that will have a tendency to do is draw you forward into the less than optimal forward head position. So now that you have an idea of the best position for you in sitting, I'm going to translate that to the person who has a standing desk or has a sit-to-stand desk and give you some ideas that can best help you in that position. So the same principles are going to apply. You still want a nice upright posture. As you can see, this desk is a little too low for me. So what we want to do is ideally get it up into this position because again, the angle of the shoulder, elbow, and wrist should be approximately 90 degrees. We don't want it too high and we don't want it too low. That's going to put additional stress up on that. The big change that's going to change from a sitting to standing position is actually looking down at the feet. So we're going to change cameras here. And the best thing that I can recommend is that the feet are going to be within the shoulder width. You want to actually drive your feet into the ground or kind of screw your feet into the ground. So what it's going to do is you're going to bring your feet outwards. What that's going to do is turn your hips on, your core muscles on, provide you a little extra stability as you're standing throughout the day. Another thing you want to consider is wearing comfortable shoes. You're going to be standing a lot more weight's going to be through your feet. So your comfortable shoes are very crucial to that. Another thing you may want to invest in, as you can see, we have a mat down. They're called anti-fatigue mats. You don't want the mat to be too soft or too firm. Too firm of a surface would be similar to concrete. Your feet would start to ache, causing you to want to move periodically. The other, you don't want it to be too soft because the muscles will actually start to fatigue because it actually turns into a little bit of a balance exercise. The next component for a person who's at a standing desk, they may want to invest in is a little step or a little wedge or something like that you can actually step on throughout the day. So it's going to look something like this. And actually it goes to the principle at your favorite local watering hole. They call it a bar for a reason. There's actually a bar installed at the very bottom of a surface, and owners were actually finding that people were leaving their facilities because their feet or their back or whatever started to hurt, so they installed a bar so you can actually take some pressure off your back, your lower extremities, or whatever it may be, so that people would be able to stay for longer and consume more beverages. So being able to have that ability to change position is very crucial. The big thing, it's actually recommended that you change positions about 20 to 30 minutes, every 20 to 30 minutes. If you stay in a certain position for a long period of time, like a statue, your muscles will actually turn into stone. So Harvard actually did a recent study and they found that there's actually no good posture. The best posture is actually being able to move just as your body is designed to do. So if you have the ability to change from a sitting to standing desk, I'd highly recommend that. For the individual who doesn't have that, I'd maybe recommend setting a timer, maybe changing your cell phone screen. And every time you see that cell phone screen or have the timer go off, I'd have you change positions. So if you have any questions in regard to the content of this video, I'd recommend coming into Breakthrough Physical Therapy, scheduling an appointment, and talking with your physical therapist. If you're not local, I would recommend talking to your physical therapist so they can optimize the way that you move. Thank you for listening to this video and best of luck.